Wherever you go, they go. A toddler follows his mother from the kitchen to the living room, then back again, then to the hallway, then back. She doesn't say, "Stay here." She doesn't push him away. She doesn't sigh. She simply moves and lets him move with her. A Western parent watching this might think, when does this end? When does he stop following her everywhere? Is something wrong? But in Japan, this mother isn't worried at all, because she understands something that most Western parents were never taught. She knows that what looks like clinginess is actually construction. Stay with me. Because by the end of this, you will understand exactly what is happening inside your child's brain every single time they follow you from room to room, and you will never look at it the same way again. In Japan, there is a concept that sits at the heart of how mothers raise their children in the earliest years. It is called Amae. Amae loosely means the deep comfort of knowing you can depend completely on another person's love. The feeling in a child's body that says, "This person is mine, and I am safe." Japanese mothers do not try to push this feeling away. They do not treat closeness as a problem to manage or a habit to break. They treat it as the foundation. Because Japanese parenting philosophy understands something that Western culture is only recently beginning to accept through science, a child who is fully allowed to be close will, in time, become a child who is genuinely capable of being independent, not despite the closeness, because of it. 1. Your child is not following you. They are building from you. In Japan, there is something mothers practice called Mimamoru, to watch over while protecting, to observe without interrupting, to trust that your child is doing something real, even when it looks like nothing. What looks like following is one of those things. In 1969, a British psychiatrist named John Bowlby introduced an idea that changed everything we thought we knew about children and closeness. He called it the secure base. A child who feels truly safe with their caregiver does not press against them constantly. What they do is far more interesting. They use that person as a fixed point and venture out from it. They crawl a little further. They look back. They check you are still there. Then they go further still. The following is not your child refusing to leave you. It is your child maintaining the exact conditions under which exploration becomes possible. Mary Ainsworth, who studied this in the 1970s, found something that surprised many people. The healthiest children were not the ones who clung most tightly. They were the ones who moved away most confidently and returned most calmly when something felt uncertain. The following and the exploring are not opposites. They are the same thing in different directions. Japanese mothers understand this intuitively. They do not interpret following as weakness. They interpret it as wisdom, a child doing exactly what a developing mind should do. Every time you are reliably there when they look back, you are placing one quiet brick in a foundation that will one day hold their independence. 2. You are their map. In Japan, children learn by watching. This is not passive. This is one of the most active things a young brain can do. There is a concept in developmental psychology called social referencing, and Japanese parenting embodies it without ever needing to name it. Your child crawls towards something unfamiliar. Before they touch it, they look at your face. If you are calm and open, they proceed. If you are tense, they pull back. They are not being timid. They are being intelligent. Research from the 1960s placed infants near a visual cliff, a transparent surface over a perceived drop. When the mother's face showed fear, almost no infant crossed. When the face was warm and calm, nearly all of them moved forward. Your face determined your child's entire decision. This is why following you is not only about closeness, it is about access. Your child needs to be near enough to read your face, near enough to use you as the lens through which the world comes into focus. Japanese mothers understand that the expression they carry through an ordinary day, even a tired day, even a difficult one, is being read, continuously, quietly. Your child is not following your footsteps. They are following your presence. 3. They are recording everything. In the 1990s, researchers studying monkeys made a discovery that changed how we understand learning. They found neurons that fired not only when an animal performed an action, but when it simply watched another animal do the same thing. Mirror neurons. In human infants, this system is one of the most active in the entire brain during the early years of life. This is something Japanese culture has quietly practiced for generations, long before neuroscience had the language to explain it. When a Japanese mother goes through her morning rituals, folding, tidying, preparing food, and her small child follows her from room to room, she is not simply being watched. She is being copied. Internally. Neurologically, the child's brain is running a rehearsal of every movement she makes. Not immediate copying. Active storage. Active learning. A study by developmental psychologist Andrew Meltzoff found that infants as young as 14 months would imitate actions they had observed up to a week earlier. The brain had held on to it, filed it, saved it for later. This is part of why Japanese children grow up with such a natural sense of order and responsibility. The habits they carry were not installed through instruction. They were absorbed through proximity, through following. You are, without trying to be, your child's primary education. 4. You are more than what they can see. In Japan, the closeness between mother and child is not only emotional, it is sensory, physical, deeply biological. Your smell. Human infants can recognize their mother's scent within days of birth, not weeks, days. Research has shown that newborns as young as 2 days old will orient toward their mother's scent over that of a stranger, without seeing anything, without hearing anything. Japanese parenting honors this. Co-sleeping, constant physical closeness in the early years, carrying babies against the body, these are not cultural accidents. They are an understanding that a child's security is held not just in words and eye contact, but in the full sensory experience of the person they love most. When your child follows you from room to room, they are following everything about you. The sight of you moving, the sound of your voice, the quiet olfactory thread that connects them to safety, even across an empty hallway. Proximity for a young child is not one thing. It is a full sensory world, and they are working steadily, persistently, to keep all of it within reach. 5. The following is telling you something. Here is something Japanese mothers seem to understand naturally, something researchers only confirmed through years of careful observation. The following is not constant. Some days your child seems unable to let you leave the room. Other days they wander with ease, explore without looking back, seem lighter and more free. Most Western parents assume this is random. A phase. Mood. It is not. The intensity of following is a real-time reading of your child's felt sense of security. When they feel safe, they venture further. When something has shifted, a disruption to routine, an illness, a developmental leap, a week when the brain is growing faster than the body can keep up with, they pull closer. The orbit tightens. Researchers call this the distance regulation system. Your child is continuously, without thinking about it, calculating how close they need to be to you based on how safe the world currently feels. Studies found that periods of intensified following in toddlers corresponded directly with periods of accelerated brain development. The child who follows most urgently during a leap is not regressing. They are managing the demands of a rapidly growing mind by drawing more heavily on the one thing that keeps it stable: you. Japanese parenting philosophy does not label this as clinginess, it labels it as communication. Your child is telling you something specific, not in words, but in proximity. They are saying, right now, in this moment, I need more of you. Not forever, just right now. Meeting that with presence rather than frustration, with availability rather than distance, is the very thing that allows the developmental moment to complete and the independence to return. 6. What happens when they cannot follow? In Japanese parenting, separation is handled with great care, especially in the early years. This is not overprotection. It is an understanding of biology. When your child cannot follow you, when the door closes, when you disappear from sight, their stress response activates. Cortisol rises. Heart rate increases. The nervous system shifts from the calm, open state that supports learning into a state oriented toward one single thing: finding you. This is not a behavior problem. This is the correct response of a nervous system that understands accurately that closeness to you equals safety. Research in developmental neuroscience shows that when separation is handled responsively, when the caregiver returns, reconnects, and helps the child settle, the cortisol resolves quickly. The nervous system learns what it most needs to learn. That separation is temporary. That you come back. That distress ends with reunion. Japanese mothers who practice Amae in the early years are doing something very precise. They are building a nervous system that trusts. A nervous system that knows, not just in the mind, but in the body, that the safe person always returns. And it is that knowing, built across hundreds of small reunions, that eventually allows the following to soften. Not because the child stopped needing you, but because they no longer need to follow as urgently, because they have learned, deeply enough to feel it without thinking, that you are always there. Shitsuke, Mimamoru, Amae, shaped behavior. Watchful trust. The safety of deep belonging. The baby following you everywhere is not a phase to push through. It is a window into one of the most extraordinary processes in human development, a mind learning what it means to be safe, to explore, to trust, to eventually stand on its own. Every time they follow you, they are using you as a foundation. Every time they look back to check you are there, they are reading your face for information about the world. Every time they toddle after you into the next room, their brain is recording, rehearsing, building. It looks like following. It is, in the deepest sense, learning. And what they are learning, more than any skill, more than any milestone, is whether the world is a place where the people they need are reliably present. Japanese parents have always known this. Be present. Let them follow. The independence comes. It always does. But it comes more fully and more solidly for the children who were followed by parents who understood what the following was for. Subscribe. We will be here every week.